What's the story, guys? How you doing?
Yeah, the story is we've won 3-2 today. We've absolutely destroyed the party up in the northeast today.
No noise from the Saudi boys.
No noise from the Saudi boys, apparently. But after we just had a bit of a conversation, do you think that was our strongest 11 today on the pitch?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I don't even think that was our best formation. I think that Nuno is still very much... Okay, before I'm going to jump into a negative by answering that question, so I'll just say first off, I'm absolutely relieved at the result. It's amazing. Now we're in 5th position. That's, you know, at the very least where we belong. And, you know, considering that the likelihood is Brighton are going to slip, if we can stay above United, West Ham, Everton, we can push into the top 4. It's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. Got to say from the outset, very, very positive in that sense. That being said, we came away with a 3-2 against a team in the relegation zone at the moment, and the money that they have hasn't come into effect. You know what I mean? Nothing really changed from last week to now, except a little bit of they had a pep in their step for a few days. I think that the fact that we didn't come away 3-0 has left a little bit of a sour taste for me. And I think the reason being is that Nuno does not understand how to play the team to its full potential yet. And a big part of it is one of the things that you were just discussing, which is not playing Roden instead of Dyer. And I genuinely believe, and this is probably going to be very controversial, but I really, really think a lot of the time that Dyer works his way into the team is because he speaks fluent Portuguese. And we had a Portuguese manager with Mourinho, and we have a Portuguese manager with Nuno. I think that he's able to sweet talk these guys. They hear their own language and they go, oh yeah, I really like this person. And then we know in the dressing room, reportedly, he can be quite authoritative and kind of, you know, expect a lot from the other players. But the fact of the matter is he can expect a lot all he wants. When he's out on the pitch, he's a liability. I've never, ever favoured Eric Dyer. There's never been, even in the games, the first 3 games of the season where we scraped by with the 1-0 victories, Dyer is an absolute liability. And I genuinely believe that the only centre-back that we have that's capable of playing in a 2 partnership is Romero. All the other players genuinely need the comfort of a 3 at the back to be really, really secure. And I think it should be Romero, Sanchez and Roden who should be playing the back 3. So a totally different formation is necessary to get the best. So you're asking me, like, what's the best 11? It can't be the team that we saw today when we.
So who'd you take out the middle?
Well, it was nice to see Dele Alli not playing in the center of the pitch there. I genuinely think that Dele Alli it should be playing up front as a backup striker. People could keep going on about the fact that we don't have any backup strikers. Well, Dele Alli played there under Poch, and he did incredibly well. Well, what I believe, if I may say, in my neophyte experience as a manager, but I would play the 3 at the back that I mentioned, right? And I think that they would be much more stable together. You then have the options of playing a Tanganga or a Dyer if absolutely necessary in the lesser games, or if someone's injured or whatever, but you do have backups for those positions. Then you play Skip and Højbjerg in the center of the pitch. If you really need to, then you can have a Winks or a Niall John or whatever come in, but the 2 of them should be stalwarts in that position. Out on the wings then beside them, so we're playing a 3-4, right? On the wings, you can have either a Hill or a Reguilon out on the left. They're very, very similar in the way they play, and I think Reguilon playing deeper is also a liability. He's not a particularly great defender. That first goal today was partially his fault and partially Dyer's fault. Dyer didn't
he was
pick up
2-on-1, wasn't he? Reguilon. He couldn't do much.
I think sometimes Reguilon just doesn't know. He hasn't got the same wherewithal. He hasn't got the same knowledge of the passages of play as, say, a Skip. Skip reads the game unbelievably well. Kane reads the game unbelievably well. I don't think Reguilon has the experience yet. So, I don't know how Skip does it so young, but Reguilon doesn't have the nous yet to really know which player to pick up. Then the ball flings in, and Dyer is ball watching. Dyer should have been picking up the goal scorer. So if you have a Reguilon playing a bit further forward, or you could play Hill there. Out on the right then, you can have your Emerson, who also is very good going forward, or you could play Lucas Moura. Then directly in front of that 4, you play the Cam, and you have Nombelli or Lo Celso, and then in front of them in a 2, Son and Kane, who are the best partnership in the entire Premier League. And then when you do need to rest one of them or both of them, you have Dele Alli and you have Dane Scarlett. You have literally a player 2 players for every position, and you're playing them in their absolute best
what do you
formation.
do with Lucas and Bergwijn then? You just out in the cold.
I think Bergwijn Bergwijn and Lucas are both players that don't seem to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. So if you play them out on the wing and you're using them as players with speed, they're both fast. You use them as players that are going to get the ball into the forward positions and then cross them in. I don't think having them playing in a 3 up the front, where Son is out wide, where he should be in a little bit closer, because I mean he's a natural goal scorer. I think he's got a better goal scoring foot than Kane. That's just my opinion. But I would say that Bergwijn and Lucas should be playing on the wings. And again, you just got more options. If we want to be a team that gets into the top 4, we need to be like all of the other teams that are capable of getting in there and have basically 2 first teams potentially. And the way that I've set it up there, I think that there's literally 2 players of decent quality playing in the appropriate positions. And then if you have, like, again, in the back, you very rarely have to switch the defenders out because the defenders don't do nearly as much running because they don't go as far forward. The other thing as well is Eric Dyer is so bloody slow. He is literally the slowest player in the Premier League. So most really, really good teams can move their back line really far forward. Liverpool are one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league right now, depending on whether you say it's them or Chelsea. They play with the furthest back line because they can move their players forward. They can keep possession. The fantastic thing we saw today and against Villa with Spurs is that we knew how to keep the ball. We're now playing, wanting to maintain possession and control the game instead of letting the other teams controlling the game and then getting on the counter. We control. And I think we'd have stand a much better chance of doing that if we didn't have to worry about Dyer not being able to get back. So we play with a defensive line that's deeper. We could play further forward, keep possession, bounce the ball around, and I would say we would get considerably more goals and concede an awful lot less.
Interesting. That's the formation we play on FIFA, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
You've been watching our FIFA career mode, Adam.
Is it? No way.
That's the formation we play on
awesome.
FIFA, yeah.
Yeah, with the 1-2 actually up top. Yeah.
That's exactly how we should play, lads.
On the game, back on the game, Adam, today, I mean, who really stood out for you today?
Skip always stands out for me. I think that he's just the way he reads the game is just absolutely sensational. I think probably if I had to say anyone outside of it's really, really hard not to say the goal scorers when you see a goal as tremendous as the likes of I know Sons was a tap in, but Kane doing that little flick over the goalkeeper over the goalkeeper's head, and Nombelli with a tremendous distance goal. But I gotta say the one who captivated me the most would be Romero. Romero always he had to at times save Emerson's ass, at times save Dyer's ass. I think that when he was going forward as well, he showed it. Like whenever we had a lot of corners today. When he was in the box, I think he looked like he could be a threat at some point in the future. I could see him getting a few goals as well. So I think Romero caught my attention the most.
Yeah. I think he played a really strong performance. He's so aggressive, isn't he, Romero? In the back line, he just adds a new element of being proactive when he's in the team because he looks for the ball, he reads the game. I feel like Dyer and Sanchez, more often than not, they're waiting for the attackers to get the ball before analysing what to do. Whereas Romero just doesn't either he makes a foul or he gets the ball. One of the two, and it's so positive. But the
one thing I'd say about Sanchez is at least Sanchez is probably the fastest centre back in the Premier League, and Romero is really quick too. I think Rodon he's considerably faster than Dyer. At the end of the day, if we were playing with a higher back line, they can get back really quickly. You saw it today plenty of times with Romero, him getting back so fast, and like we see him doing it for Argentina, and he's doing it for us. I think he's going to be an absolute revelation, in the years to come. But he needs better partners. Eric Dyer does not deserve to be lacing up boots next to this guy.
Yeah, I know Dyer scored the own goal, but other than that, he did have a pretty good game, didn't he? Today,
I think he gets too much leeway. He's so slow. He is so slow, and then he switches off. There are periods of the game where he's literally just and then the other teams will capitalize. I genuinely do not believe that he's of the ilk to be wearing a Spurs shirt. I really don't. Just because he's a decent shot stopper. When he's got his mind together, he will get himself in front of a shot, even if he knows he's going to get belted with it. So fair play. But outside of that, his head's not in the game 100% of the time, and he's too much of a liability.
Yeah.
It only takes 2 or 3 mistakes.
Yeah. it only takes one mistake from him and then usually ends up in a goal. But Adam, thank you so much for coming on, my friend, and we shall speak to you soon.
Absolutely. Cheers, lads. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.